Hi, I'm Michael Jordan with AB Friendly Company, and you're at the Underground Meadery. So over the last couple of days, you saw us make a couple different meads here at 52 Meads. We're going to do something cool. We're going to do buckwheat. Everything we've been added to was just clover honey too. We did a 2-pound batch of clover honey. Let's get something to compare it with. So we're using Winter Park's buckwheat honey, a raw natural product from Winter Park, Colorado. We're going to go ahead and add this to our jug. So we've got 2 pounds of buckwheat honey that we're going to just make a straight buckwheat mead. So we made a straight clover mead. Now we're going to make a straight buckwheat mead. We've got a gallon of water from our osmosis machine, right, that went through our well water. So we've got really good water that we're using. We've got 2 pounds of buckwheat honey, a pack of Red Star Premier Blanc yellow pack yeast, our gallon jug, our airlock. I think we're ready to get started, except for one thing. If you're going to make a mead, you should try to enjoy a mead. What's really cool is this is a buckwheat honey mead. We ordered in apple blossom honey from Washington. So this was apple blossom honey mead. The color's really great. This is aged over 1.5 years now. It has it smells like apple blossoms. It's got a great aroma. But I can tell you right now, the alcohol content is about 17% on this. This is really, really premium honey. Yeah, super cool taste, man. Um, Man, it has its own flavor. It's almost like it's not even apple-ish. It's got a whole bunch of stuff that just comes through. Straight apple blossom honey. So let's just get started. I've got my coffee pot. I went ahead and ran some hot water through, so we're all set to go. I've got my gallon of water, 2 pounds of buckwheat honey, my fermentation device, our balloon for our airlock, Red Star Premier Blanc yellow pack yeast, my scissors to open it, my temperature gauge to check the temperature so we can drop the yeast, a hydrometer for our potential alcohol reading, our pen and our index card with our recipe. Right, so I've got buckwheat, 2 pounds of buckwheat honey, gallon of filtered water, 1 pack of Yellow Star yeast. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we'll do is let's make sure we take our lid off our jug. And let's add this honey from Winter Park. This is a little thick. Good, but look at that dark, dark honey there. Well, it's just pouring like molasses. So that's some really thick honey right there. It's a good thing we heated up our water so we can get the rest of the honey out of this, because this is super thick. Look at that. Started to crystallize on me here. I should have warmed up a little bit to get a good runny mix. But that's one reason you can tell that you've got good raw honey, is when it starts to crystallize. And if it crystallizes from the bottom or the top, better. If it crystallizes in the center, it's got a lot of additives. So this is looking pretty good. All right. Remember just to give it a little turn and lift. You won't have a lot of mess. Let's see if we can get some of this honey here to dissolve. This is so dark you can just smell this. What's really cool is everything you're seeing us do live and not prep. Sometimes we already have the honey in the jug so we can get some bigger advancements going. But everything you see, we're seeing do it right in front of you. So you can see how we do it. Looks like I'm going to have to get a little more hot water going in my coffee pot, which is okay. That only means that we'll probably have to let this mead set out over 24 hours. We'll just add a little more of our good spring water. What that does is that coffee pot then will warm that water up and help us dissolve this honey. By the way, thanks for tuning in. Right? You're getting to see how we're making meads on small levels for people to do at home. That sets up. Let me get this one going. Now you see how that bunched up at the top there for a minute? You got to be real careful. That'll give you an airlock bubble. And it's hard to get your honey in after that. That's dark like coffee. All right. Get a little twist and turn so we don't make a mess. We'll throw some hot water in this one. This will give you a workout. See if we're getting some more of that. Ooh, this is just so thick and started to crystallize on me. I wasn't planning on this. Pouring coffee in, huh? You can hear how crystallized that honey was. Remember, we're trying to get all the sugars out and dissolve all the honey, so that way we can get a good specific gravity reading, and it gets it easier for the yeast to eat the honey. When it's all crystallized sitting at the bottom, it takes a long time for the yeast to activate and eat that honey. So that's one reason why we're dissolving it all down. But you can see it's starting to dissolve really good. It just takes a little bit. This is one reason, if you have problems like this, boil a saucepan. When the water starts boiling, turn it off. Take your lids off your honey, set it in there, and let it just sit, and they'll liquefy for you, and they'll make it easier for you to pour. Probably do one more round with this one. See how this one started doing now. It's sat a little bit. What's really good about this is now you've seen us how we have to take and break down crystallized honey to get it into your jugs. All right, we're getting just a little down to the residual here. What's really good by using these, if they get a little bit of pressure, you can bleed off the pressure. Here's all the honey out of this jar. Super good, huh? We'll go ahead. See, this one's dissolved all the way too, just to make sure. See, just a little, set it in there a little bit. Now, just to make sure I got all the honey out of these jars, right? Let's go ahead and pull a little cold water in here. Let's see what we got. Now my honey's completely out of those jars. See how clear that was compared to how we started? All right. So basically we've got our buckwheat honey now in here, and we've already started to dissolve it all down. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to add the rest of this hot water in here. Put my lid back on. Let's mix this all up. Looks like someone's trying to tune in to us here. All right. Look at that. We're already, oh, see the little honey. Now you see the honey here at the top? You can see that, right? We have this where we've got to go ahead and dissolve this all the way down. Oh, look at that, huh? Look at that. Now it's all dissolved all the way down. That's what we needed, right? So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the rest of my water to it. Super easy. All right. All right, I'm going to give it another little shake here. Man, this is a good mix. This is going to be a good buckwheat honey. Now you see we've got a lot of foam here in the top. We'll let that drift down so we can add more water to it. But let's go ahead and take a specific gravity reading. All right. Look how dark that is. That almost looks like a beer. All right. Let's see what we got here. Now, on an average, for every pound of honey that you add, you get 5% alcohol. We should be sitting at anywhere from 9 to 11% potential alcohol. So let's see what our little measurement here says. Point 1.075. Let's see what that says. 1.075. Like I said, remember we should be sitting at anywhere from 9 to 11%. Let's see what we got. 10% right on the money. 5% from each pound. So that's super awesome. I'll have some apple blossom mead for that. Let's go ahead and take our temperature reading. Now, remember we always like our temperature between 68 and 78 degrees for the type of yeast we're using. If this is too hot to pitch the yeast, we'll go ahead and let it sit for 24 hours, acclimates to room temperature, and then we'll dump our yeast in. Super easy, no big fuss if we just don't add it right now. So let's go ahead and see what we got. We're right at 80. It's pretty close. But you know what we do? We're going to add a little bit of this cold water because the foam went down a little bit. Okay, not too much. I just wanted a little bit. Tell you what I'm going to do, because we're close to the thing, we're going to go ahead and drop the yeast. This won't kill the yeast. Remember, until the temperatures are over 100, will it kill the yeast? So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put my yeast in. We're going to dump this back in to aggregate and agitate the yeast. Move just a little bit. See, that was just the amount of water that we put in. We'll see if we can get that to go down here. There we go. All right. Beautiful. Now we got our yeast in and everything. We got our jug up to the level. Airlock on. AB friendly approved. Super easy. Now we've got a buckwheat honey that we can compare to our clover honey. The readings were about the same, right? That we're looking at 10% alcohol from our clover honey. We're looking at about 10% alcohol from our buckwheat honey. We'll see if it clears up anything from this darker color. Lots of stuff to try with different types of honey. We'll get into that as we keep going. But now you've just made a buckwheat mead. So now we've got a clover and a buckwheat going. Hey, I'm Michael Jordan with AB Friendly Company. You're here at the Underground Mead. Remember to share, like, try out these easy meads to make. We give out really simple, easy topics for you to try. Remember, we're doing 52 gallons in 1 year. You're already up to 5. We'll talk to you later, and thank you for tuning in. The Underground Meadery. Better finish this off.